Well, thanks, Gary. So I love the conversations that we have, and one of the things that we're talking about is this idea of connection. Really being present with another. And you shared another word that comes forward, which is contribution, and it triggers in me this idea of purpose. It's like I hate it when somebody says, "Oh, have you found your purpose?" But we can find that. So I think those two things are really important. This idea about contribution, creating value, in connection, and it doesn't have to be a big thing. It's something that I'm learning and growing in, which is to be present is simple enough as listening is not trying to create value to show that you're important. So for me, it's not having another window open while I'm in the Zoom screen looking for some answers or something to contribute to. My contribution can simply be presence alone, that connection. What comes up for you? What?
I think those two words is really, as you're talking, Stephen, I was just sort of reflecting on the two words, a connection and contribution. Connecting is actually, soul to soul, go deeper into that person, into that space. Let's connect deep, be there. Contribution is basically saying the same thing. I'm contributing to this space and to this moment because by me being there, connecting with you, I'm giving you the space as well to be present with me. And so if we distract each other with a telephone or with another screen or whatever, then we're not being true to ourselves. We're not really, just don't be there at that point. If you're really going to connect and you're going to contribute, those two words together means presence, means being there.
I really love that. And where I've struggled in the past, and it's a place where I've failed, is this egoic need to be worthy. And so what I would do is I would break connection in the pursuit of contribution. So I thought, oh, if I contribute something worthwhile, then maybe it'll create better connection. But it doesn't. If you're busy breaking the connection, right, off working on something else and not listening to the person, missing out on what they're saying, then you're really not contributing. There was a friend of mine, his grandfather had this great saying. He said, "Are you listening or are you waiting to talk?" It's a great quote.
Yeah, I think contribution is connection, really. Sometimes we're looking to contribute because we want to give something and we want to be, there's a higher purpose, as you said, but it's nothing to do with that. It's just actually being in the space and contributing your presence to the other person.
So what I've noticed, and this is something that's I'll call it a deepening. It's a shift of awareness, and I'm learning this as I've been doing the hypnotherapy classes. As I've been doing some of the shifts in the Wellness Wednesdays and the group meetings that I host. And what I'm noticing is that connection is enough, and that is your contribution. That when you listen to somebody, when you truly listen to them, the ideas will come forward. You don't need to do work. You don't need to prepare. That hearing them is the basis, the foundation of real contribution. And that contribution is the shift of energy. It's the shift of how you feel. And that is it's almost magical.
You know what, Stephen? I think if we were to close our eyes and take away that visual distraction, you'd hear my voice and you would know exactly what to say if there's anything to say. If there's nothing to say, it's more than enough just to sit there, breathe, and listen to the words and connect with me on a deeper level without waiting for the moment to actually give your wisdom or your contribution. Because maybe that's enough. That's what I'm looking for, is just for you to sit there and be here with me. And I think those two words, connection and contribution, are so close together. Once you do one, you do the other, and vice versa.
I agree with you. And it's a learning because it's different than being in the mental space of connection. What I'm talking about is it's a deeper level of participation. It's actually hearing what the person's saying to understand what they're telling you, not how it's filtered through your life experience. To actually hear what they're telling you, what does it mean to them? Why is it important to them? And if we can connect to this idea of why is this important to you? Why are you sharing this? It opens the door to really meaningful human connection. Today in the Wellness Wednesday, we started off the conversation and it was this idea of I just asked what is different for you, and one of the people in the group shared my father passed away recently, and it opened the door to a heartfelt discussion. It opened the door to tears being shared by many of the people in the group, but it was an honest, it was a raw, it was a real sharing of experience, and that type of connection is beautiful because you have friends that are supporting you. There's no judgment, and that moment is enough. And yeah, so I think that if you think about that, being supported in those times of difficulty and in heightened emotion, then that does create immense contribution.
I think you said it, Stephen. Connection and contribution are just the same, maybe the same wraps in different packaging.
Yeah. So I'm going to just offer one final thought, and with the Be Well series, with your academy, what the things that you're doing, what comes to mind if you're on a hike up in the mountains, or if you're doing some sort of events that, one of the events that you do, the group events, how might this concept be explored? Because I do believe experience is the foundation, is the teacher of life. And so as you're having one of your experiential retreats, how might connection, how might contribution be explored?
Connection for me was overcoming vulnerability. Connection for me was trusting myself. Connection for me was putting myself to one side. It's not all about me, because before it seemed it was all about me. And so sometimes when you make a contribution, it's not all about you. It's just about listening to the other person, or actually supporting that person, or being there. So when my connection now, when I go walking up in the mountains, and I can call them my Be Well hikes. I don't know, but I connect so deeply with everything around me. Whether it's all the nature, it's with myself, it's with my breathing, it's with my dog, it's with my thoughts, everything. It gets so deep, and that's connection. And that naturally leads me to make a contribution in whatever I do, whether it's walking without disturbing the nature, or whether it's meeting a passerby and smiling and saying hello. That's a contribution. So I think when we go a little bit deeper in the connection and connecting, and not just thinking of making new friends, but actually going a bit deeper, the contribution just comes out naturally.
I think that that's a beautiful response. And I'd offer to you today, we talked about in the Wellness Wednesday, we talked about the sacred pause. And the idea was take a pause when you're triggered, right? Before you send that nasty gram, take a pause, take a breath, and reflect, is this truly me, before you hit the send button? And that'll save a lot of consequences of things that you'll need to clean up if you do it. But the other thing that came up was this idea that when you see something beautiful, when you see something that's awe-inspiring, when you see something that moves you in a way, pause there too. Let it sink in. Let that experience be something that you marinate in for a moment, that you breathe in for a moment. And I do believe that pause as well is a beautiful place to be, because it'll deepen that moment.
Yep,
So well,
definitely.
thank you, my friend. Beautiful conversation. Enjoy your meal.
Thank you, Stephen.